Here. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is January the 22nd, 2021. My name is Rodney Gillette. I am the proud president of the Rotary Club of Colorado Springs, the most outstanding Rotary Club in the Pikes Peak region. Give yourselves a hand today. Give yourselves a hand. Give yourselves a hand. It's beautiful to see you all today. Really, really happy. It's been a pretty good week. Um, Dr. King's federal holiday was on Monday, and Colorado College had a really nice event that day, which I attended online. Thanks to the team and folks who put that together. I know we had some Rotarian involvement with that. A little shout out to Shirley Martinez. The portion of the event that happened at the U.S. Olympic Museum and Paralympic Museum was very well done. So thank you, Chris Liddell, CEO, and the USOPM team for facilitating that wonderful event. It was super nice. Now, I've had people tell me, Rodney, why can't people just be nonviolent when protesting generations of injustice you've had to endure? Why can't you be more like Dr. MLK? I mean, that should be your example. Well, while people want to use him as a poster child for nonviolent protest, he was not a popular man during his time. He was labeled a radical and a terrorist by our own government, and did our own government did everything they could to discredit and destroy him. Uh, Did you see those nonviolent marches? Did any of you see them? Some of you were alive during that time. Were you there? There was nothing nonviolent about those protests. They were handing out traumatic brain injuries at those nonviolent protests. Dr. King was loved and adored so much that he was ultimately murdered, along with others with him and before him that worked to make this a fair and better country for all people. That's what we're working for. So for our words of inspiration, it's more like a words of enlightenment and understanding. I give you Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in an interview about 11 months before his assassination to give some insight on what his thoughts were at the time. Stand by while I get that up for you.
What is it about the Negro? I mean, every other group that came as an immigrant somehow, not easily, but somehow got around it. Is it just the fact that Negroes are black?
White America must see that no other ethnic group has been a slave on American soil. That is one thing that other immigrant groups haven't had to face. The other thing is that the color became a stigma. American society made the Negro's color a stigma. America freed the slaves in 1863 through the Emancipation Proclamation of Abraham Lincoln, but gave the slaves no land or nothing in reality, and as a matter of fact, to get started on. At the same time, America was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that there was a willingness to give the white peasants from Europe an economic base. And yet it refused to give its black peasants from Africa, who came here involuntarily in chains and had worked free for 244 years, any kind of economic base. And so emancipation for the Negro was really freedom to hunger. It was freedom to the winds and rains of heaven. It was freedom without food to eat or land to cultivate, and therefore it was freedom and famine at the same time. And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, they don't look over the legacy of slavery and segregation. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps, but it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And many Negroes, by the thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of all of these years of oppression and as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading.
So I wanted to share that with you all to get some insight on how things are rolling these days. Stand by. Working on one computer. I'm mobile right now, still in Phoenix. All right, cool. So the next piece. So because of Dr. King, we've had so many firsts in our country, which are worthy of celebration. Every first is a celebration. It is a testament of glass ceilings being broken for somebody else to go through them. And I'm wearing my shoes because there's a lot of glass where I walk around these days. I had somebody tell me last Friday that for me to be discussed as the first Black president of this Rotary Club is self-serving, that I'm selfish because the Gazette wrote about it twice. KOAA and other media outlets had brought it up. How dare I talk about it, and that it doesn't matter. It does matter. Every time a glass ceiling is broken, it matters. Last week, I had Dr. Sylvia Whitlock, the first woman president of a Rotary Club, in our Zoom call. Every woman in this Zoom call right now owes her a gratitude of thanks because of her and her team, and those efforts by those folks. We have ladies in our Rotary Club right now. You know, we have our first vice president who's a woman. It's a pretty good thing to bring up and celebrate. And this morning we got our first African American Secretary of Defense. Pretty interesting. Now, is being a woman or a person of color the reason why they were selected? It certainly has been for a long time a reason why they were not selected. But they are worthy and well qualified on their own. So cheers to the firsts and the firsts that are yet to come. Next thing I will share is this beautiful flag. Let me share this flag with y'all. Let me share this flag. Let us rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. Man, I so believe in this country. Good country we got here. Great country. Now, I think it is appropriate for us to do the national anthem as a song of the day. And while I love singing that song myself, I'll have somebody else sing it for us who did a better job at it this week than I could ever do. Before I go to the national anthem, the four-way test and everything we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Keep that in mind. It's going to come into play sooner than later for all of us. All right, next share. All right. And here is our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, here for the singing of our national anthem, accompanied by the President's own United States Marine Band, please welcome Lady Gaga.
Yeah, it was pretty good. For those not familiar with Lady Gaga as a pop singer, this was not particularly her genre, but she killed it. I think she did a pretty darn good job. Um,